All right, a sublime Week 11 just finished with the Bengals and Chargers almost going to overtime. LA holds on, and that is where we are going to start. First in pod, every game, every week, Andrew Fillipponi. Patrick Peterson is back. Spencer Ray is producing. I'm going to tell everybody before we start our breakdowns, subscribe, rate, review. The way the podcast grows is by not just listening, but by subscribing to it, by giving us a 5-star rating. That gets us on more people's radar, and that allows us to pump out more fantastic content. Content is easier to make when the games are good, and they were tremendous today.
Yes,
Chargers almost chargered, Pat. And I thought it was going to be Jaguars playoff game deja vu from 2022.
Almost.
And this game now furthers the idea of the Harbaugh effect, that the Harbaugh mystique has cleansed the Chargers organization. All of these past sins and past blowups and past choke jobs are behind them now that he is at the helm. It had all the ingredients of a chargering event. At one point, Justin Herbert was 6 of his last 23 passes in the second half. He was melting down. His body language, you could read it on his face. He was thinking, here we go again. And then what ended up happening instead, Pat, the Bengals bungled. They did what they've done all year, which is find a way to lose close games. This is their 6th one-score loss of the season. And special teams and crummy defense yet again undermine what was a marvelous performance from Joe Burrow and Lamar Chase.
Yeah, man, just another disappointing loss for the Cincinnati Bengals team, man. First of all, what an outstanding game it ended up finishing out being, because it did not start that way in the first half, and about half a quarter into that third quarter is kind of when the Bengals got it turned around. But just another disappointing loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. The defense is right now atrocious, especially in the first half. They end up getting some Newsom and can't remember the other kid name, the fast kid who ended up hurting his shoulder late in the ball game. But
Turner,
Turner, number 20, Turner out there. So they got to find an answer for that defense, because their defense can't stop anybody right now. But for the most part, Joe Burrow and Lamar Chase went out there and did their thing once again. And I believe they can do it, relying on Joe to throw the ball 50 times a game. But that's not reliable football. They have to be able to find a much sustainable running game and also play some better defense. Because Hutchinson, we know what he's going to be, but they need to find an answer at the cornerback position. Linebacker is pretty solid, but the secondary is a big question mark right now for that Cincinnati Bengals defense, and that's something that's hindering that team, because they can't stop anybody passing the ball.
I think this is going to go down in Joe Burrow's career as a bigger what-if season than when they lost the Super Bowl to the Rams, because at least with that year, it was them reaching the championship early. So it was a season that didn't have high expectations. It was a second year as a starter. It came out of nowhere in many respects. So there wasn't really pressure on them. And even though they lost to the Rams, they got pats on the back and slaps on the ass for that season. Yeah. This year, to have Joe Burrow playing as well as any quarterback in the league, and to be 4-7 through 11 games, it's a complete organizational failure. This is the same Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator there, Pat, is the same guy that when they went to Kansas City and won, he was looked at as this defensive coordinator that had the blueprint or the magic formula to slow down Mahomes. And now you've got Burrow throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in every game, and you're 3 games under 500 and you're in jeopardy of missing the playoffs. Their defense stinks, and McPherson's got to wear it too for missing the 2 kicks. But I'll tell you what, the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Ravens, even though they beat them twice, the Bills, those teams are all ecstatic that Cincinnati is probably going to miss the playoffs, because I wouldn't want to play Joe Burrow in January, even with as bad as his defense has been this year.
Yeah, because he has the ability in playoffs, no matter what the situation is, to find a way to win. As we continue to see over the last 2 weeks, Cincinnati losing the game, by last-minute drives, field goals, touchdowns, or whatever you want to be, whatever you may want to call it. But there have been one-score game loss over the course of the season. So they're right there, and this is definitely going to fall on a what-if season for the Cincinnati Bengals.
And you were all over it from the very beginning. You said after, I think, 2 games when they were 0-2, this team ain't it this year. They're not going to figure it out. They're not going to get to the status or the place where most of the media, myself included, thought they were going to be back in August. You have to take a victory lap on this, because unless they have this wild finish to the season, they're going to be on the outside looking in. And the last point I'll make on the Chargers is their defense had held every opponent to 20 points or fewer before Cincinnati turned it on in the second half. But you see Derwin James breaks up that pass at the end on the Hail Mary. Khalil Mack didn't play. That defense, if we had come on and decided to tape the podcast at halftime, that might have been the story, Pat. What a juggernaut defense they have. But the game's 60 minutes long, and they almost chargered. And so, unlike Chris Sims, I'm not going to prematurely put them in the same sentence as the Chiefs and the other teams when they almost barfed on themselves and blew this game.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the Sunday action, the Sunday slate. The Bills and Chiefs, the biggest game of the season so far. And Kansas City's undefeated season, Pat, goes up in smoke here. They lose to Buffalo. That is now 5 wins for Josh Allen and Sean McDermott over the Chiefs in the regular season, 0-3 against them in the playoffs. 4th straight against Kansas City, and it ends the Chiefs' 15-game winning streak. What does it all mean?
It means a lot. First and foremost, this was a big win for the Buffalo Bills. Just on the simple fact, it's a confidence builder for them. Having an opportunity to have the Kansas City Chiefs on their turf, in their stadium, in a playoff type atmosphere, an undefeated team. We know this is going to be a hurdle that we're going to have to get over if we want to be in the Super Bowl. So this game meant a lot for the Buffalo Bills, and I love how aggressive the play callers were on both sides of the football for the Buffalo Bills. And you can just tell that these guys had a great week of preparation coming into that game, forcing Patrick Mahomes to have one of his worst games of the season. And the biggest play of the game was Josh Allen, 4th down with a minute and some change left, and took it upon himself and ran the ball for 20-odd yards and pretty much putting a dagger in the Kansas City Chiefs from there. And the drive after that, defense coming back, getting an interception. So this game was a huge, huge stepping stone for the Buffalo Bills, because now they have the confidence that they can do it. And going to the Kansas City Chiefs, it's just kind of been a worry all year if they're going to have enough on the offensive side of the ball. We all had answered questions can this team continue to win with the way Patrick Mahomes is playing? Yes, they can, but will they be able to do it in the playoffs and meaningful games? Because we have not ever seen Patrick Mahomes play this bad in a football season. So that answer has yet to that question have yet to be answered. We'll find out here in a couple months. But this was a huge, huge win for the Buffalo Bills, and something for them to grow off of and learn from as well, because you never know. Kansas City Chiefs may be coming back there for the playoff game.
So they either have scar tissue from having lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, or they are pretending publicly that this game wasn't a big deal. It's one or the other, because Allen after the game tried to, it's just another week 11 win, and we'll see him again in January. It almost like the Chiefs are downplaying it, saying, "Hey, it's cool. We didn't our goal wasn't to go 17-0. Our goal was to win the Super Bowl. Somebody was going to beat us anyways." In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs, if something gets tweaked and they look back on this game and they now try to make it seem like it was a blessing in disguise or the best thing that could have happened to them that they lost the game. Teams do that all the time. But it was interesting to me how Buffalo, from Allen on down, tried to poo-poo this win, because I'm with you. If I'm the Bills, yeah, you've had bad experiences of winning in the regular season, winning the battle, losing the war. But you've got the better quarterback right now. Josh Allen is playing better than Patrick Mahomes. Right now, he's the MVP favorite. We'll get to Baltimore and the Steelers, what happened with Lamar. Josh Allen pulled into the lead for the MVP. That's good. That's a career-defining moment for him.
Yeah.
Okay, right now he's known as a quarterback that hasn't won the Super Bowl, hasn't been to the Super Bowl, doesn't have an MVP award. He's now in the driver's seat with that. Pat, that was the 30th time in his career he led the Bills in passing and rushing. So that's, in a way, that's not a good thing that he has to have so much on his shoulders, but it just speaks to how vital he is. That's the definition of MVP, valuable, when you have to do those things. And their defense should look at it like, hey, we've got Patrick Mahomes' number now. They held them, the Chiefs, to 259 yards, and Mahomes threw 2 interceptions and was under 200 yards passing. That's an A-plus game by their defense. So I would have confidence if we can beat them in November. Why the hell can't we beat them in January? Do they just flip a switch and turn into a different team?
Nope.
If I'm Buffalo and I'm their fans, I'm not trying to fluff this off or shove it under the rug because it's only a regular season win. I think they're a better team than the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have the better team right now. Offense is much more efficient. Defense is about what and what. Buffalo defense has been getting better weekly throughout the season. So, yeah, as of right now, Buffalo.
Pat, Chiefs defense gave up 30 points. Think
know.
about how many times we've come on here and said it's all about their defense, all about their defense.
Yeah.
That's their worst game of the year.
Yeah, all around. Yeah. So this was a big game for Buffalo. I've been in locker rooms before. We'll give you a quick story. When we played the Seattle Seahawks, remember I was talking about how they put 50-something points on us that time?
Yes.
But doing that, we never beat. I think no one has ever beaten Seattle within like 14 games or something. I forget the streak that they had. But we ended up going in there, beating them. We was the first team to beat them, and it was early on in the year. But what that did for us, that gave us confidence, and that ended up being one of our best seasons all around. It was 14, and what that did, it ended up propelling us next year and helping us having one of the best seasons that the Arizona Cardinals ever had. And not only that, every time we went to Seattle when Coach Arians was our coach, we beat him. So
damn,
that just goes to show what a win like that can do when you feel like a team has had your number for a long for X amount of time. So Buffalo can say what they want to say in the media, but I guarantee in that locker room, those guys know this was a big, big win. All right, moving on. We got the Ravens and the Steelers. Lamar loses to the Steelers again. Why does this keep happening?
Because I think it is a psychological thing with not only Lamar Jackson, but also John Harbaugh. And I think it's in their heads. And I that's not taken away from the Steelers, because there are some things about the chess match between Harbaugh and Tomlin where Tomlin makes a move and it's his move that ends up being the reason why a play is successful, or bigger picture, the team wins the game. But I think the 2-point play that the Ravens failed on at the end of the game really is a microcosm of why the Steelers have been so great against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and why Mike Tomlin has owned John Harbaugh. Pat, Derrick Henry's not on the field there. I mean, right off the bat, it's, in my opinion, a horrible play. You've got one of the best goal-to-go runners in NFL history. He scored a touchdown in every single game, and he's not out there. And then you've got Lamar Jackson. The play for him is to run left, sprint left, when he's a right-handed quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that either. I mean, those 2 strikes and you're almost out in that situation. And it's just, they completely take away Lamar as a runner. It keeps him in the pocket. He feels the Steelers' pass rush. He completed only 49% of his passes today. That's his worst completion figure since 2021. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think they don't have success early in games, and it snowballs on him. Henry fumbled on the second play. It was his first fumble since 2022. He comes to the sideline. He throws his helmet. I mean, there's just a level of frustration that the Steelers bring out in the Ravens offense, Pat, that nobody else in the NFL does.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I had the pleasure to be able to game plan for this game and for Lamar Jackson. And like I said last week, man, the Pittsburgh Steelers is the only team that has the antidote for Lamar Jackson. And it is the defensive line, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. And now you got Pearson Smith, young Herbert, who made that play on the second play of the game to force that fumble off of King Henry. That to me, when you have guys that's able to keep Lamar in the pocket and that has speed, TJ Watt, if I didn't mention his name, everybody know that he's there. But anywho, when you have the ability to have edge rushers able to keep him in the pocket or make him retreat outside the pocket and make those passes longer, then you have interior guys in the interior defensive line that is agile and fast as well. That's able to keep the pocket corral. It makes it harder for Lamar Jackson, because if you go back and watch when he played against any other team, like you said, he don't have those big Lamar Jackson type plays. He don't have those scramble left, scramble right, toss the ball down the field when he plays the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they have such great defensive line rush responsibilities and great athletes that forces Lamar to play with his left hand. And that is why the Pittsburgh Steelers has been so successful against Lamar Jackson over their last 8-9 meetings, I believe.
Baltimore didn't even want to. They acted like they didn't even want to run the ball with him.
Right.
Like they didn't even want to make him. Well, I mean, that's to me, like, isn't that sounds defeatist? Like you've got the 2-time MVP. He's like the greatest all-around weapon at the position in the NFL, and someone has a scheme or the personnel to make him a one-dimensional quarterback. If the guy's that great, then he should be able to overcome it either in the way you're devising the game plan, setting up plays for him, or on his own natural ability. It's just bizarre to me that it's like they give up on it. They don't even want it to be a big part of their offense in these games.
Yeah, I think it just also too, you got to realize the physicality that's involved in this game as well. You know what I mean? It's not the black and blue. I think it was called a black and blue game or something like that. I forget what B-Mac used to tell me. Black and blue division. So it's not called that for no reason. You know what I mean? So they want to make sure that they keep him, especially for this game, because if you go back and look at it as well, as long as Lamar Jackson has been the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, how many times has he been starting in those games? Almost what,
Only
half of
5
them?
now. Only
You know what
5,
I
and he's
mean?
been in the
So
league since 2018.
so that's I don't
Well,
want
that's an
to me.
intimidation fear factor the Steelers have working for them in these matchups too then.
Exactly. And that's not only with them, that's with everybody. You already know what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to bring to the table when they come to your stadium or when you go to their stadium.
I mean, if you had told me, and I asked Mike Tomlin this after the game, I said, Mike, if I had told you before the game you were going to win without scoring a single touchdown, what would you have thought about that? Because think about it. With how many
Yeah.
points the Ravens have averaged this year, the highest scoring offense in the NFL, more yards per play, highest rushing attack in the league, maybe league history, and you kicked 6 field goals and you won. You're not supposed to kick field goals and beat Lamar Jackson, but that's what happened today. And he now has more MVP awards than wins over the Steelers in his career, which is nuts.
Yeah.
And it made me very happy. I was there. Packers and Bears. Okay, the Bears lose on a blocked field goal. They're now inventing ways to lose games at the end. Hail Marys, blocked field goals. How should Bears fans feel right now,
crap.
Pat?
Like crap. Like you just
Crap.
said. Yeah, like you just said, they are inventing ways to lose ball games week in and week out besides the Arizona Cardinal game.
Oh, you're going to hate my take on this game then when it gets back to me. You're going to absolutely
Yeah, they should
like it at all.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me keep going with mine then. Yeah, they should feel like crap. Because they have to find ways to finish games, man. I was going to say if they would have won that game, I had a nice little note here. I said, man, look like the Bears has finally got out of their funk. Finally got out of their funk living in the past. And then next thing you know, they go down there and drive. Nice little drive. Caleb Williams looking good. I said, this is a Caleb Williams that we need to see more, a little bit more of the athletic side of Caleb Williams when things start to break down. And then I'd be damned. Boom. I didn't even make it so bad, Pony. I didn't even look at it. Like I wasn't even watching the blocked field goal. All I heard was the thump. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, it's 2 weeks in a row someone blocked a game-winning field goal attempt. But back to the Bears. Yes, they should feel like crap because, one, they have not beaten the Green Bay Packers in God knows how long. So they're basically Green Bay Suns right now.
It's 11 in a row against them. LaFleur has never lost to Chicago. It's the longest run by a team in this rivalry.
Exactly.
It's the longest the Bears have gone without a win over the Packers.
Yeah, so that's one. There's no more victories. This should have been a Super Bowl for you guys. And two, they have to find ways to make better decision on I won't necessarily say better decision on the coaching staff, but they have to find a way to better position their guys, man, especially late in the games, to be successful because they had chances to really close that game out, but they just didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know if it was they have to run the ball a little bit better in that last drive situation where they got a couple of first downs and they kind of stalled out on the third first down attempt. They tried to then they had to punt it off. Then Jordan Love ended up taking those guys down the field. What an amazing catch by the young receiver by Watson to help them, put them in a position to win that game. But yeah, man, the Bears had it right there for them, and then they just let it slip away again. So yeah, their fans should feel like crap. What the heck you got to say, Pony?
Well, see, in that respect, the game management part, I agree with. Even to the last possession before they had the field goal blocked, there's 30 seconds. You've got a timeout. You just settled for a 48-yard field goal instead of trying to make it an easier kick. So I thought that was a mistake. We saw kickers miss kicks. Justin Tucker stunk against the Steelers. McPherson missed the 2 kicks on Sunday Night Football. Bass missed an extra point again today for Buffalo. So kickers have not been as automatic as they were early in the season when the weather was basically perfect in all of these cities. The reason why I would say I wouldn't feel like crap, the silver lining in the game I thought was Caleb Williams. he completed 74% of his passes. The only thing I care about now, if I'm a Bears fan, because this is a season where the coach is going to get fired and there's going to be massive changes there. I just want to feel good about my quarterback. And for as painful as it might be trying to find a moral victory in a loss to your arch rival and a team that's kicked your ass the last few years, that would be it for it. I'd honestly rather have Caleb Williams play a good game than win a game like 13-10 against the Packers, because he holds the keys to this team's future. And frankly, if I'm a Packers fan, I would not be jumping for joy either, because if Jordan Love keeps throwing these interceptions, they're not going to go very far. He threw his 11th interception in this game. It was inside the 20-yard line again, another red zone pick.
Overthrown, too.
He leads the league in interceptions, even though he's missed time this year. So that's okay. Like, you're going to make the playoffs, Green Bay, and you take the wins any way you can get them. But I wouldn't feel great about Jordan Love if I were a Packers fan right now, given how much they paid him and how careless he's been with the football this year.
Yeah, I agree. But to your point, as the Bears fans, this was our shot to beat them. Like you said, Jordan Love is not playing his best football right now. He leads the league in interception. We really rely on our defense, and their defense did play solid today. But this is why we should feel crappy, because Green Bay is not Green Bay that we have faced in the past. Jordan Love is not playing his best football right now. And I feel like if we're able to just get Caleb in the right direction, this is our shot to be on top of Green Bay. And yet they failed that again. And granted, they did fire their OC last week, so they, had maybe some new play calls in the game plan this week. But this was their shot to win this game, and they didn't. Seahawks 49ers, Geno Smith. 49ers blow it again at home. Reason to worry?
Yes. I go back and forth on the 49ers, man. It's just going to be one of those things on the podcast that people are going to have to get used to, because of the way they can tease you with the great players that they have, and then the way they break your heart by continuing. This is now something that goes back to when they lost to Arizona at home.
Yeah.
They're coughing these games up against NFC West teams. Championship caliber teams don't do that. Nick Bosa got hurt in this game, and the next man up thing didn't work for bleep. They gave up 20 unanswered. They gave up 20 points to Seattle. Every point was scored after Bosa was out of the game. Geno Smith scrambled for that touchdown to win it with just a few seconds left. McCaffrey was decent in this game. In no way was he great. Purdy is trying to get paid as an elite quarterback. You're at home. It's just, it's one that is probably going to come back to bite them when the season is over, because I only see one playoff team from this division right now, as long as Green Bay and Minnesota keep winning. So, and it would take a Washington collapse for a second team from the NFC West to get in. So, I keep waiting for the 49ers, now that they're healthy, to show me and prove to me that they are the team that they were last year. They've made so many great second half pushes, Pat, but maybe they're a much better version of the Jets, which is to say every week we think that this is going to be the week that they, live up to the preseason expectations, but they're just really not that team.
Yeah. Watching that game today, it just seemed like they're
you had to love it for your Cardinals. You had to be jumping for joy.
Now they got the sole position now, in the bye, so they got 2 wins this week, come in the bye, coming off vacation, and you got one of your another leg up on a division opponent, so Cardinals are feeling really good right now. But for the 49ers, man, I was watching that game today. It just seemed like they don't have that same juice and fire, and I won't necessarily say desire, but they're not playing the same on the defensive side of the ball for sure. And I'm telling you, teams have figured out the Brock Purdy madness. Like, if a quarterback cannot stand up and throw a straight 9 ball, it's going to be difficult to beat
So
teams.
tell people what you mean by that.
So what I mean by throwing, just drop back and throwing a 9 ball, meaning a quarterback is up under the center or in the gun, and you got a receiver that has a +2, +3 split, and you just throwing a go ball. And if a quarterback cannot complete that on a consistent basis, to me, it's going to be hard to win ball games.
So how far of a throw is that roughly, Pat, are you saying?
That's probably in the air, maybe 45 yards, maybe.
And he doesn't challenge you like that.
No, he can't challenge.
No.
He doesn't have that throw, or unless we haven't at least we haven't seen that throw. So they're a team that attack inside the numbers. If the running game's not there, you pack inside the numbers, it's going to be difficult for the 49ers to move the ball consistently.
Their yards after the catch is way down this year, man.
And that's something that's not on their side this year. They don't have, like last year and the years before, they had Debo, Ayuk 1 and 2 at yards at the catch at their positions. You had Kittle number 1. You had McCaffrey number 1. So now they don't have that yak anymore after those catches. It's really showing, and it really hindering their offense because those big plays are way, way down.
Yeah, 17 points, and I like Mike McDonald, but that's just not acceptable at home today from that 49ers offense. Nah. The flip side of that is the Lions, Detroit, and Jacksonville. 52 points, 645 yards of offense. I know
Crazy.
Jacksonville stinks, but how is Detroit doing this? Somebody tweeted out, it looked like if a top 10 college football team played an FCS team today at Ford Field, Pat. It was that one-sided. First 6 possessions, 6 touchdowns for Detroit.
Yeah, it was just picture perfect, just beautiful, poetic football, 7-on-7 for the offense type football for the Detroit Lions, man. They couldn't complete a pass, scored on every drive, really treated the Jacksonville Jaguars like they ought to be treated. Like it was bizarre the way that they was Johnson, the OC, was able to dial up plays. Looked like anything that he called worked. And this team, man, they're just very dangerous, man. Just being able to put up points however they want, when they want, doing it with style points, doing it with fun and grit. Like, this team is very, very dangerous, like, to be honest with you. And if they continue to win in the style and the fashion that they're winning, I'm telling you, there's not a team out there that want to see the Detroit Lions, especially if they have to go to Ford Field, because that little place with them fans right up on top of you, man, that place get loud. And I had an opportunity to get a taste of that, my last year in Minnesota, right when there was Dan Campbell had those guys on the cusp or really, really breaking through. And now that those guys have broken through, the fans believe, the city is behind them. The organization is all in with Dan Campbell. This is a team that really, really have a legitimate shot of winning it all, and they're a fun team to watch too, So the Detroit Lions, man, watch out, man. 600, like we said, 645 yards of offense.
Yep. And that's
crazy.
the second time this year they've scored 52 points.
Yeah,
it would be a crime if they weren't in the Super Bowl. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
It would be a football injustice. Their fans deserve it. The city needs it, and the NFL, I think, would benefit greatly from having that. What for a while was a sad sack, hopeless franchise, get off the mat and become, fulfill the Dan Campbell promise of getting biting the kneecaps and everything else, and taking punches and battling back. And they did that against Houston last Sunday, where they were down with the 5 turnovers and came back and won. But really, this team this year has not been that team. They've just been embarrassing teams. They've just been playing a different sport than everybody else. And so What I want to give them credit again for one more time is the Hutchinson injury could have easily been a morale killer for this football team because he was on pace to win Defensive Player of the Year. And even though they're an offensive team, he's their team's best player. And they haven't skipped a beat. They crushed Dallas. They've scored 52 on Tennessee, and now they scored 52 today. And Doug Peterson said afterwards, I still have a job to do. Doug, guess what? I got news for you. Not for much longer, my friend. Start to get vacation plans together because I think you're 3-14 in your last 17 games, and I don't see how you survive there in Jacksonville going forward.
Yeah, me either. And we're gonna move forward too because there's not much left to talk about that game. We got the Rams Patriots. The Rams get back to 500. Stafford goes for 4 touchdowns. Are the Rams in this thing?
Hey, you're the guy that said, hold your horses on Trade Cup. The Rams are not out of it. This is a 4-horse race in the division. And Stafford played a throwback game today with 4 touchdowns. Nakua and Cup both caught touchdowns. He moved into the top 10 all time in passing touchdowns. He moved Eli Manning back. So he probably got a game ball or something like that from Sean McVay afterwards. It was a game they had to have. It was a tricky game.
Yeah,
the reason, though, why I'm not going to say that they're truly in this thing, even though the standings say they are, their defense. The last week it was the offense against Miami that struggled and really hurt them, and that's why they ended up losing the game. They didn't find the end zone until they kicked field goals the whole game, actually. They gave up 282 yards and 2 touchdowns to Drake May. I thought May, other than the interception he threw at the end of the game to seal it, actually played well again.
Really well, yeah.
These were some of these rookie quarterbacks. We'll get to another one in a bit who's just been, he's getting it. The light bulb is on. It's just the Rams, Pat, I've yet to see them have a game where I feel like it's clicked on both sides of the ball, and we're now almost to Thanksgiving. So if it hasn't happened yet, I just think it's one of those years where it's going to be close but no cigar for them.
Yeah.
But are you going to go on record and saying you like them to finish with a better record than the Cardinals?
No, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go on record and say that.
Okay.
But I am going to. I'll say they're going to have a better record than the San Francisco 49ers.
So the Rams, in your opinion, are actually the bigger threat in the NFC West to the Cardinals.
100%.
Okay. That's a big take. I like that.
Yeah, 100%. Just because, like I said, just watching them when they got their team back fully assembled, the offense looked totally different besides last week. And the defense started to get better and really leaning on that young defensive line that they got. Because they have a very, very young secondary. And I believe those guys are going to continue to get better as the season continues to go on. Because what they're going to do is they're going to find what these young guys really do well in the secondary. Because, like I said, this is their real shot of really, really playing some meaningful football. So the coordinators are going to really have to figure out, what my young guys do well, what they comprehend better than other things. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be the juggernaut for this Rams defense, is getting those young guys on the same page in the secondary, on the same page, so they can be better in the pass game. But I don't have a question about the Rams offense. I believe they're going to be able to score with the best of them. It's just going to come down to their defense. So I got the Rams finishing second in the NFC West. Are they in the playoffs right now? Like if the playoffs was to start today,
no, because you've got Philly, Washington, and then you've got Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, Atlanta, and Arizona are the 7. So they're on the outside looking in.
Okay, yeah, because somebody gonna come out of the South, but yeah, they might end up being on the outside looking in. But yeah, I got them finishing second for sure.
Colts and Jets, Pat. Anthony Richardson back in, leads the comeback, plays very well, runs the dude over to score a touchdown at the end of the game.
Yeah.
beats the oldest quarterback in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
How big was this for Anthony Richardson's future?
Man, this is huge for Anthony Richardson. He played very, very solid. I think it's gonna come down watching that game. Anthony Richardson, like he has the intangibles. He just throw the ball too damn hard. Like guys be like 5-7 yards away. He's trying to throw it through their chest. Like, man, he has to get an area code for his cannon because my goodness, bro, he got to have some type of touch or something. But other than that, I felt like he played his best all-around game, throwing and running the football. And I think this is going to be something that he can build off of. And you never know. Maybe having those 2 weeks behind Joe Flacco maybe was an eye-opener for him because I didn't see him making those same bonehead decisions that he was making early on in the season, running and just taking, unnecessary hits, putting himself in harm's way, throwing the ball all into traffic. I felt like he took some steps in the right direction of learning how to be an NFL quarterback. So that was very, very promising to see. And to the Jets, man, I thought they was going to never get a first down. When they first got their first down in the second quarter with a minute and something to go, I was like, it's about time because it would at that point I think it was 13-0, if I'm not mistaken. 13-0. Then they end up scoring and coming out in the second half, had some juice going. Then here come Anthony Richardson with a game-winning drive. So the Jets are still disappointing. Anthony Richardson, that was a big performance on his behalf, and I think the organization have something to really, really lean on because it also looked like that he had more freedom in the offense as well, as far as passing the ball. I believe, how many times did he pass the ball today? What was his stats?
Spence, give us the stats there on Richardson. I will boil the game down to 2 quotes. Richardson said after the game, that was the most relaxed I've been. So I do think that.
Yeah, he was 20 for 30, 272.
Right. So he
that's
played
a big game.
He played an efficient game, 20 for 30. That's an accurate game. Okay. He was more accurate than Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert were in week 13. So I think the relaxed kind of calm that came over him from getting benched, it had the intended effect. It had the intended result that they wanted to get out of it. Yeah. And so his temperament and his attitude and the way he approaches these games, at least one game in, much better than before. And then the quote from the Jets is Aaron Rodgers after the game when asked what's going on. He said,
what did he say?
He said, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's other people. Again, bro, you've won 4 MVPs. They've given the entire organization over to you. When that happens, you can't say it's other people.
Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's others.
I don't give a damn if a running back fumbled the ball 5 times. You can't say it's other people. You forfeited that right when you decided to come here and have everything your way. Your coordinator, your wide receivers, you don't want the head coach around anymore. So I shouldn't let it bother me anymore because it happens all the time with him, this passive aggressiveness. But if it grates on me, I'm guessing it probably goes over like a lead balloon with the guys that are actually there, both the coaches and players and everybody else who's a part of the Jets organization.
Yeah, the guys are tired of hearing it. And you're not winning. I just believe it's just falling on deaf ears now. And it's going to be very interesting to see, what the Jets do moving forward, with their team and with their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. But I think
they can't bring him back. I would not bring him back.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're going to have some decisions to make. And if they don't bring him back, will a team bring him in knowing the baggage that he's going to bring? Yeah, we know he's Aaron Rodgers. We know he's going to, we know what his persona is. But do you see another team?
No. You know
First,
why? Because I think that the scale of justice here, the things you tolerate or put up with because a player is great, I think now it's swung the other way. I'm not I don't want to take aspirin for a headache anymore. If I can prevent it's not worth the headache.
yeah.
The winning isn't coming with it. MVPs aren't coming with it anymore. So no, I would be, even if I was a quarterback hungry team, find another plan. Just being honest.
Find another plan.
Yeah.
Falcons, Broncos, blowout in Mile High City. Time to take the Denver Broncos seriously?
Hell yeah. And I haven't, because I was reluctant to do so. Respected the defense pretty much the entire year, but thought that Bo Nix was really just a guy who put up numbers in college because he was there forever.
Yeah.
And not someone that I thought I should take seriously as an NFL quarterback. He balled out today.
He did.
And that's what happens when Atlanta doesn't get pressure on the quarterback. And so he just sat back there, went through his reads, and found open receivers and picked them apart. This was a total ass kicking. And the thing that I loved about it, for a team that is led by a first-year quarterback, it would have been very easy for them to have an emotional letdown because of what happened last week. You lose to Kansas City on that field goal. You're feeling sorry for yourself. You're thinking, we should have won that game. We got blown out by Baltimore the week before. What's going on here? And then to come out and just stomp a mud hole in Atlanta, that's a great job. That might be, the Bills beat the Chiefs and the Steelers beat the Ravens. But as far as complete game victory, that's probably the best win of the day. Even though the Lions played a total pushover team.
We're not going to put them in there.
Denver beat a first place team.
Yeah.
Embarrassed a first place team.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I think this was a big time win for the Denver Broncos. I'm not there just yet on taking them serious just yet, but I do love what the formula that they have right now. Defense is playing outstanding. Bo Nix is playing out of his mind. I love what Sean Payton is doing with Bo Nix by moving the pocket, get him on some naked boots, getting him on some rollouts to give him that run pass read.
He doesn't move bad. He moves pretty good, actually.
He does. And he throws really well as well on the run. So I believe by Sean Payton giving him those reads early on in the game is getting him more comfortable in the pocket to be able to deliver those strikes down the field. So I really, really do love the formula that the Denver Broncos have right now that's producing W's. But I'm not ready to take them serious just yet. They're close. They're very, very close. But I want to see them, put a beating on. And like you said, they did beat a first place team in the Atlanta Falcons. But the Atlanta Falcons is a leaky team. They're not like a scary playoff team or a scary number one divisional opponent.
Just a quick thing on them, and then we can get to the next game. Their next 3 games are at
Denver,
the Raiders.
We speaking of?
Yes, are at the Raiders, home for the Browns, and home for the Colts.
Ooh.
They're going to be favored in all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
So they're 6-5 right now. If they take care of business, they get to 9-5.
Yeah, they can go on a run.
You win one more game, 10-7, probably gets you in as the 7 seed in the AFC. Yeah. And this is actually one of the best coaching jobs in the NFL done by Sean Payton this year. So I got to tip my cap to him. People in the media love him. A lot of fans get bothered by his arrogance, but he's doing a tremendous job with the Broncos this year, given what their preseason expectations were. Yeah. Vikings and Titans. One of your former teams, the Vikes. What a quiet 8-win team they are. They're 8-2, and nobody talks about. They got the same record as the Steelers, and on the Monday shows, they'll spend 30 seconds.
2 seconds.
On them. Yes.
So you gave them 30. I gave them 2.
Are they a good team?
They're a solid team, and I think here's the reason why a lot of people don't give them the respect that everyone think they should get. I mean, I give them respect, but I think it's going to come down to Sam Darnold in the playoffs. The defense is going to be good, but can Sam make the play when it's time to make the play? And I think that is the big question mark. And that's why teams are not, I mean, the media or people are not really sold just yet on the Minnesota Vikings, because it's going to come down to quarterback play, just as it was, when I was there. All they talked about, oh, can Kurt win the big game? Can Kurt win after 4 p.m.? Or can Kurt win the night games? And unfortunately, we were never able to do that. But that's the question mark now with this team. Can Sam Darnold make the plays when this team really, really needs him? And I think he have yet to show us that. So I will need to see that when they are playing the Detroit Lions. Who else is top with the Pittsburgh, Philadelphia Eagles? If they play them, I don't know if they're on the schedule. I think they already played them.
They're not. They play the Cardinals in 2 weeks. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, so I want to see how they match up against these other playoff opponents out of the NFC to really, really give them that pushover to say that they're a good team.
I mean, it's honestly so. Here's the issue I see with them. They're so good defensively. They held Tennessee. Obviously, Tennessee stinks. They held them under 300 yards today, but that's the sixth team they've held under 300 yards of offense this season out of 10 games. I mean, that's hard to hold an NFL offense under 300 yards. So you could probably win a lot of games if you just trusted your defense and played not to screw it up offensively. But when you've got Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and Kevin O'Connell as your head coach, you're not going to do that, Pat.
Right.
You're not going to be a team that plays it safe offensively. So that's why you're saying to Sam Darnold, it is incumbent on Sam Darnold to run their offense. Their offense puts it in the quarterback's hands and asks them to get the ball to their playmakers. And today was up to the challenge, but they played Tennessee.
Right.
So I can't really put a lot of stock in it. Hey, they were very impressive for the first 5 games where they were not just winning games, they were blowing good teams out. So we know it's in there with them, and we know it's in there with Sam this year. It's just a matter of, can they find that again? So that's why I think you actually probably answered the question very well. Are they a good team? They're a solid team, and they're probably really not as good as their record says they are. Dolphins, Raiders, Browns, Saints. Anything on these games?
Dolphins, Raiders, man. The Dolphins look like a total different team when Tua is in the lineup. Offense look totally different. Being able to push the ball up and down the field, put points on the ball left and right. And the Raiders just putting themselves in position to draft Shedeur Sanders. That's what it looks like to me, because they're definitely going to get a quarterback next year.
I said that on the podcast Thursday when I missed you. I said, everyone's talking about the Cowboys for Sanders.
Yeah, he's going to the Raiders.
Would Vegas hire Dion and Shedeur and pair them up in Vegas of all places?
I think that's what the Raiders are positioning themselves for, to be able to go get Shedeur or even Cam Ward. Yeah, he's a solid player too. I like him out of Miami. The Browns Saints, big time win for second game interim head coach. Man, I thought this was
the Rizzlers 2-0.
Yeah. The Saints look like the Saints that we saw in the first 2 weeks of the season, playing solid defense, playing efficient offense, moving the ball up and down the field. Alvin Kamara getting acclimated in the game early and often. Derek Carr making some big time throws. Defense turning the ball over, getting after the quarterback, playing very, very aggressive. So it was good to see the Saints get back on the winning side of things with 2 big time back-to-back home wins.
This is going to sound like it's an exaggeration. I honestly think Taysom Hill might have played the best game by a player in the NFL today.
Man, did
Dude, he had
To have
3
100
rushing touchdowns.
Yes.
He had 8 catches. He had a 42-yard kickoff return. He also threw an interception, though. I mean, like, it ran the entire spectrum. You know, he is a jack of all trades. That's what everybody says about him. He can do it all.
Yeah, he can.
He's also 34 years old, Pat.
Damn. I did not know that.
Me neither. And so he is still this incredibly versatile athlete at an age where, most very prime athlete, 1% NFL players at 34 years old they're not in the NFL. They're retired.
Yeah.
They're on to their next chapter in life. So it's crazy to me that he is still at 34 years old, able to do all of those things that he's not doing less. He's doing more.
Yeah.
At that age.
That's remarkable. That's remarkable to see him do that at that age, and being able to affect the game on so many levels is pretty remarkable. So I tilt my hat off to Mr. Hill.
Taysom Hill.
He's Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill.
I don't know if Lamar's Mr. Jackson anymore with Tomlin after that game. We might have to go back to calling him Lamar for that rematch later in the year. Hey, thanks to Spencer Ray for producing. We love that you guys spent your Monday morning commute wherever you are with us, going through all the games. We do this every week. If you're new to the podcast and you found out that there was a podcast that did every game, this is a weekly thing. It's actually a twice weekly thing. We'll be back on Thursday after the Thursday night game, Steelers and Browns, and then we'll go through all the games on the Sunday schedule, previewing them. The Sunday night matchup next week is the Eagles and Rams, so pretty good game. For Spencer Ray, he's Patrick Peterson. I'm Andrew Fillipponi. This is First and Pod.